All right, guys, it is not what y'all thought it was. So today's video is going to be the Aquascape. This is pretty much probably going to take some time to do, so buckle up. This might be a long video. For me, it's going to be multiple parts because I like to design my aquascape in certain ways, so that way I can, you know, maximize the use of the entire tank, flow, coral placement, things like that. So there's a lot of different, what would you call it? There's a lot of different reasons why this video is probably just going to take some time to go ahead and hash out here. But all in all, this is all the rock that I got. This is all rock also too. It's all wrapped up. I'm going to go ahead and unwrap that in a second. But there's about 200, a little over 200 pounds of dry rock. I remember a few years ago I told myself never again am I going to do dry rock on a new tank, and unfortunately it looks like I am going to have to do dry rock on a new tank. That's what's out there, that's what's available right now, that's what came with the tank, and we're going to make it work. Bottom line, what's going to happen here is I'm going to go ahead and start stacking some of these things up, see what kind of structures I can get out of it, and then go from there. But I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys this view here first. A couple things that I'm going to do with this Aquascape as far as setting it up. I'll cover that. But what I'm going to do is get one of these boards from the Cade tank itself, and kind of draw out some lines of where I want the borders to be for the Aquascape itself, as far as just the width and length and things like that. The height I'm not too worried about. I am going to try to keep it a particular height, but again, that's also going to be something I'm going to play around with to work with my coral placement in that tank. I got a couple ideas of how I want to put things in there, but we're going to go ahead and see how all of that hashes out. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and finish unpacking everything. What you see here, all of this stuff, this was all just in the box, and these are blocks. These are full macro rocks, and I completely forgot to tell you guys, all of this rock actually came from Pristinerock. I'm going to go ahead and put their information down in the description so you guys can see, but yeah, it's like all macro rock here. So things like this, I'm going to see if I can play around with some structures and move this out of the way so you guys can see here. You know, play around with some rock placements. There we go, got something going on there. Kind of get some caves and things like that. It's kind of a swim through in a sense, but yeah, honestly gonna go ahead and do that. These are the boulders, and from what I'm looking at in these bags here are all the plate corals, I mean, not plate corals, but the plates, plated rocks. But let me go ahead and unbag this real quick so that way you guys can see what I'm looking at here, and I can make sure I'm telling you guys what I have in these bags. Alright, so far so good. This is pretty much what's showing up in here is a lot of these shelf rocks. Yeah, let's take a look here, show you guys, you know, some of the quality of rock that you guys might get from them, just in case you guys want to place an order. So let's see. There's one piece. There's another one here. And yeah. So let me go ahead and finish up and get the rest of these open here, and we'll see what it looks like. All right. So got all the rocks out of their bags. Here goes all the shelf type of rock here. There's some couple pieces right here. This is one of the more intricate, bigger pieces. Well, these are all little individual stuff, but this kind of separated it from the boulders over there, which are some of the larger pieces that I'm obviously going to have to work with and break up. I do like these shelf rocks and the way that they came. They're all bubble wrapped, so that way they're not getting damaged or anything like that. And they look pretty nice and sturdy. I'm actually gonna really keen on this one. Let's see if I can get it to stay flat. Here we go. Got a nice archway that shoots out. I don't know, I may play around with this one here a little bit, see what I can get out of it. Yeah, obviously it's a nice piece. I could just go ahead and stack all the rocks up, and definitely I got swim through spots for the fish to come through and around and out, as you can see there. And here it is. So that's a quick walk around of the rocks. Like I said, this video, it might be a bit long. I may have to break this up depending on what happens once I start digging into this rock to build my aquascape for my tank. Definitely I'm going to try to have things like this where there's swim through, but it's more open. Not that, you know, the swim through is here, but then you have a boulder in the middle. Let me see if I can show you guys. Yeah, so this kind of boulder in the middle here is really supporting everything. There we go. Supporting kind of this middle structure. So I want to create something that is going to work with the tank, work with the fish, and also the livestock, and everything just looks nice. At the end of the day, I got to look at this, so I want to make sure it does look nice. So we're going to go ahead and work on this right now. I'm going to kind of pick some things out and piece some stuff together here and see if we can make this happen. And I'll show you guys the progress along the way. But just stay tuned, and we'll see what we can do to get this looking like a nice little masterpiece. Okay, so went ahead, got the Aquascape done. This is definitely not the Aquascape. This is actually all the leftover rock that I had from doing the Aquascape, and I'm going to pretty much keep that a secret. You guys are just going to have to hit that subscribe button to go ahead and know when I drop the next video, which will be the tank with the Aquascape and pretty much ready to go here. So what I'm actually going to show you guys here is pretty much how I went about doing the Aquascape. So let me go and grab a couple of the smaller rocks from the side over here, and we'll just stack some things here and get this all set. Okay, so I got some of the equipment here that I'm going to use to do the Aquascape. Bear with me, we also have a storm going on outside, so hopefully I don't lose power. But what I want to do is kind of go over what I have here and how I did this. First thing we got, definitely rocks, Marco rock, whatever rock you want to use. It's up to you on how you want to build this out. Secondly, a hammer, some type of chisel. For me, I got this chisel, I've been using it for a while with rocks. Screwdriver, whatever you want to use to break the rocks up. I took the hammer and a couple of mallets to it and got that squared away. You are going to need super glue. This is the one I'm currently using, thin. We'll get into that in a moment. I would say some type of measuring cup and probably an old paintbrush or whatever you can use pretty much to do what I'm doing here, sweep up the dust, the rocks, or anything like that. So with all of that equipment, you guys probably saw this too. It's a little sifter. Pretty much took that from the kids' beach stuff here, so I can sift out a lot of the bigger rocks and leave the dust here. But with all of that, on hand. Aquascaping, really, you're pretty much just gonna go ahead and let me grab some dust from over here. All right, and we're back. So I did this 2 different ways because I was testing out something. So first thing I did was I picked up this bag of Carob Sea Supernatural Premium substrate. Now the reason I picked that sand up was because it is like a fine sand. It's like your oolite or such, but it was a real fine sand, as you can see there. The other method that I did end up using, which actually worked out much better, was literally crushing up the stones here until they were powdered. So you take all these little bits, here, take a hammer, bang it and crush it up, get a little powder out of it, and that actually worked 10 times better than the sand method. So I'm going to show you both of them and we'll get started on that. So the reason for the super glue, you do want to get thin super glue. Guys, don't skip out on this. You got to get that watery thin stuff because it does need to soak into the sand. I tried it with regular glue, take my word for it. I have, the regular just liquid super glue. It wasn't thin enough. So you got to get anything that's like pretty much, it sounds like water in a container. This is really watery thin. You'll see it once I start, getting everything set here. But what you want to do is obviously, find a couple rocks. See if I can put something together here real quick. All right. And let's say we want to fuse these 2 pieces together. Now imagine this works on the larger rocks. Obviously, when you guys see the Aquascape, you'll get it. So first method I use, pour some sand. Take my super glue and then pour it on the sand. Now, the reason I say that, this stuff works fast. Like within a half second it starts to set. So if you're doing this, you want to get it done really quick. But here's the problem with the sand. It was in some spots it did lock up, other spots it didn't. It just didn't work out that way. So that was that. It did fill in the spots really well, but it also, after it ended up drying, and I'll show you this here live on the camera. Let's see if I can get this off here. There we go. Here we go. So there were some spots that didn't dry up pretty well and others that did. So we are actually going to change this up. I'm going to find a different spot on here. And I will show you now with the crushed up Marco. And don't worry about the bigger chunks. What I was kind of doing with those was filling in holes like this. You see, put a couple of drops on. Oh, and that broke off. There we go. Well, I'll do it one more time. And that's what happens in real life. Let's get some of this out. We'll get the powder in here instead. Trying to rush through this, and that was my problem there. So pour it on, let it sit for a while. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but it is smoking. That's much different than this. The chemical reaction that was happening here actually causes it to heat up, and it was pretty cool because here we get my thermal on this. That's 90. Now we come here to this spot, and we're looking at well over 100 degrees in some areas. There we go. Now it's cooking. So if you guys do this, please keep in mind the chemical reaction on this is going to cause this to heat up pretty well. And being that I held it there, you guys didn't kind of see that instant bond. So I'm going to show you one more time with just this small piece here, and We'll see if I can do this without getting glue all over my hand and everything. So again, pour some on, get some of your super glue on here, and then boom. Let it set. And here we go. So when they bond like this, what I would suggest, if you guys do use this method, I would come through on the back half of any rock structures that you do. So you guys can see I did here on the top. I would say to come around on the bottom piece, pour some of the mix on here, and get some of your glue on. Now I will say I did do layers. So I'd pour some on, let that set, come back around again, do another layer of the mix, and then pour some more on right now. Part of the reason I'm kind of hurrying through this, I would say to do this in a well ventilated area. A couple reasons. Again, that chemical reaction, dude, is, look at this. Yeah, that chemical reaction has this thing baking. Let me see, put it down here. So you got 102, talks about 80 or so. Yeah, it's over 100 degrees, so it does get warm. But if you do it right, you guys can get some really interesting rock structures to happen. And that's pretty much how I did the whole aquascape, was, you know, take some rocks, find a nice spot for it to the way that it looked. You know, like, let's say if I want to bond this piece here, if it's bigger structures, I would find a point on the rock work that you can get some of this mix in here to kind of create like a tack point. So let's say this was a big rock structure and you're like, all right, I want to go ahead and mount this piece here. Okay. Put some glue on, tack it in place, and there you go. And once you get it tacked in place, I would carefully move it, especially if you have like big heavy pieces. I did waste almost the whole bottle on the first structure I did because it was too heavy, and then I started to try to move it, things started breaking, and yeah, I had to go back in and re-glue it. So here we have this little nano rock structure here. Let's see if we can get the camera down to look at it. And that's, like I said, that's pretty much how I did the whole aquascape. I mean, if you guys have any questions on this video and any of the other future videos that's going to be coming out on this tank build, go ahead and put a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Let's see. There we go. And here we have it. Little nano aquascape. You guys can apply this to your nanos, to your large tanks, anywhere that you want. I actually like this here. I got a friend who's got a little pico tank he's setting up. Might have to go ahead and set him up a couple rock structures here. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and put a little jettison on the side. So we'll take this piece as it is, and we will go ahead and just pretty much bond this little arm to it. And just like I'm doing here, you kind of find that, all right, if you put it down, it falls over. You can always find another piece of rock or something to keep it stable and level. And that actually looks pretty nice there. Let's see. There we go. Remember that brush I told you guys about? This is part of the reason for it. So sometimes that stuff won't come out of there. So brush it up, pick it up, put it in place. It's pretty much what I was doing the whole time. You know, drop some rocks in, pour some glue on, give it a couple of seconds, bonds, and you come around and you kind of just fill in the cracks. All right. There we go. And this is a little Pico Aquascape. So to go ahead and close this video out here, just take your time when you're doing the Aquascape. If you're not piling up rocks and stacking them, you know, one on top of each other, the same process will still work with the super glue, and if you guys want to bond them together. But if you're looking for something more modular, you can just stack the rocks, or you can make a nice modular structure that you can move around in the tank freely. But like I said, please take your time with it. The super glue is really dangerous stuff. Definitely wear a face mask or have it in a nice ventilated area, and just be careful. Wear gloves if you can. I didn't, and I got super glue on my fingers here in some spots, but again, I've been doing this for quite a while, so the glue doesn't too much bother me. Like I said, I did try the sand. It does take a time for it to set up, but the crushed aragonite here, the crushed Marco rocks, actually sets up much faster and takes less time to get to the final product. Probably going to fill this in here, but yeah, if you guys have any questions, definitely go ahead and hit me up in the comments below. Here we go. And this is why I use the watery stuff, man. Look at that. That's on there. And I'm trying to get this thing smoking like crazy, dude. It looks like it's gonna catch on fire, to be honest with you. It really does. If you get enough of this in here, I did that a few times. I poured like a whole bunch just to soak it down. This thing will start to smoke, and it looks crazy. But other than that, I will talk to you guys on the next one. I gotta go and get this tank running, and I will see you guys later. Peace.